React series. This series will be kind of corresponding to the official React tutorial that we have on the react.js .org documentation. The reason I want to make this is because I believe this will be pretty helpful to the beginners. The tutorials are really helpful on the react.js org. But if you're a beginner, you don't tend to want to learn from just reading documentation. But it is a really useful skill. I'm going to briefly talk about React just for a second. React basically utilizes this powerful thing called the JSX. Now, before, in plain old web development, we have HTML, we have CSS, and we have JavaScript. CSS is good for styling. HTML is the actual display of what's going on, and then JavaScript is going to be the underlying logic to determine what is going to be displayed. But traditionally, JavaScript files are all together, HTML all in other places, and then you have to kind of like piece them together. But with JSX, you kind of do them same time, right? In like a same line or same file or something like that. So I'll be showing you guys how that's done in a second, and welcome. So welcome. Now my webcam is smaller. We're gonna be trying to build this right here today. This simple thing that just shows hello world, but we're going to be building it with React. A little bit cooler, right? Now, if it's HTML, really all you have to do is, instead of this whole crap right here, you can really just do, hello world. If you save it, yeah, it is going to show up, like it's going to work. But let's embed, React into it. So let's delete everything. Let's build it from scratch right there, that hello world with just React. By the way, this is CodePen, and CodePen basically everybody can see your code. It's just really cool code sharing website. And in the HTML, we always start out HTML with the HTML tags, and we can just give it a test. So this should just show up the HTML right there. But let's do something cool. Let's give this an ID of hello to show. Save. And here's the thing: every single JavaScript always have this default thing you can do, which is called document.getElementsById, and that is how we incorporate logic into HTML, right? That we do in JavaScript we do all the logic and stuff, and then we do document.getId, the HTML stuff, and then we display stuff that is done by the JavaScript. And that's how we usually link up JavaScript and HTML together, which JavaScript is what handles the logic and HTML is what really just displays. So nothing goes on in HTML like behind the scenes. HTML is really just a markup language. It only shows up the front. So we're going to use React here, and the way we render something with JSX is this. Hello world. I typed hi instead of hello world. And then document get elements by ID, probably to show, right? So if we save this, it is going to work. Now let's talk about the why. Well, React DOM is, you can't just access it anywhere. So the way I'm able to access it right now is actually by plugging in the script right here. So like the underlying code of which includes React DOM. If we were to open up this code, you don't want to write all of those yourself, of course. And that code right there should be a little bit different. Should be shorter or longer. React DOM. Okay. Well, we can actually probably find the render function in here. That's too much. Well, right here we're calling React which is in that JavaScript file that we imported, and we're calling a method called render, which exists in there. Then, the arguments for it is just this, and then the document get ID, which is basically saying that we're going to go to the HTML, get any element. So even if this is a span, span, which is in default HTML elements, it is going to work. We're going to search by the ID, and then we're going to display this in there. So this is basically going to go in. This right there practically does this. We can delete this, and we can do like that, and this will still show the same thing. But of course, we're not going to do that. Let me see. Okay. So far I think we showed a really basic example, but I don't think I showed all the benefits of, of course, this little short video right here is not going to show you all the benefits of React, but let me just show you guys what does it mean to do JavaScript and HTML together, a quick example of it being together. We can, so in JSX, you can write JavaScript code and embed it into HTML. So JavaScript embedded with HTML is basically JSX anytime, just by opening up those brackets, and you can just type in something like 1. So as you can see, this right here showed up. So we can type anything here. Not sure why that doesn't work. Maybe I need a string. Yeah, because in JavaScript it's probably a string. That right there is HTML syntax. That right there is JavaScript syntax. Yeah, that works. But of course, we don't have to just type in actual text. We can actually have some logic behind. So we can make a variable above everything. We can do var loaded equals to true, and it's lagging. Sorry. And I believe you probably know the if then loop. So a quicker way, a shorthand to write the if then is saying this. Okay, that right there. So basically it's saying that we test this variable, or whatever this phrase is. If this is true, then we do this, else we do that. This is actually a shorthand, but it's actually required if you want to do this in JSX. You cannot do if then, like type in if explicitly inside of the render function actually. At least not that I know of. But even though it's the basic same thing. So I believe that shows you guys a little bit more benefits of React JSX, basically blending together HTML and JavaScript, and we're able to take care of some logic here. So this can of course be some really complex logic, and then based on that logic, we can display whatever we want. So to just trace it one more time, by the way, this is targeted towards beginners, so I'm really sorry if you feel like offended by the slow pace of this video. Let's go through this whole thing one more time. Oh, actually, I actually didn't say one more thing. Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna say that soon. We have the normal HTML. We can just type in anything in HTML and it's going to display. But now let's do that in React, right? So we did this in React. The way we do that is by calling the render function in React, and then we later embedded some logic and I use JSX to display this thing right here. And this is actually going to go to the to show span. It's all going to lie inside of there. One thing I did not talk about is one thing that is really important. The compiler here is actually called Babel or Babel. It's probably called Babel. Yeah, and this is really important. This is able to convert the React code that you wrote into code readable by the machine. So an example, I can show you guys what this will convert the JavaScript to by using Babel. It's going to convert JSX into yeah, it's gonna convert JSX into something that actually makes sense. Yeah, so this right here is JSX. Right, we somehow have like the const and then the we have like a const, which is definitely JavaScript thing, and then we have HTML tags here. So that is JSX right there. When you run it through Babel, it compiles it down to this. And then basically, you know, then the machine takes care of it, whatever, right? But the Babel thing is there, and just a little bit important. So that will be it. It's actually kind of long for intro video. Next video, I'm probably going to talk about actually setting this up, make it running on the web page and stuff like that. Yeah. So have a nice one. I hope you guys benefited somehow.